Hey everybody, I'm back again with another video for Project S. If you didn't watch my last devlog, Project S is a game that I started making a couple of years ago that I ultimately stepped away from. With more game dev experience under my belt, I decided to restart my development of the game. My goal for Project S is to first create a demo or prototype of what will eventually be a full game. I want to use the demo as a way to showcase the main aspects of the game and hopefully gain support to finish the project. Right now, I have been focusing on two core features of the game, the environment and the combat. Let's talk about the environment for a bit. Over the past few weeks, I have been designing a couple of different levels. These levels will be featured in the demo version and will more than likely be the first levels in the final version of the game. In my previous video about Project S, I mentioned that I wanted to build smaller, more linear style levels. This new approach to level design has allowed me to create a more beautiful environment that guides the player through the game world. Over the past few weeks, I've had a lot of people ask me about my process for designing levels. I'll try to give a brief explanation in this video, but if you guys want a video dedicated to how I design levels, then let me know in the comments. I first get some inspiration by looking at other games. I spend time playing and researching games that I want my game to look like. Once I have a good idea of the style I want to go for, I create boundaries for the overall size of the world by adding a small landscape or a plane to the level. Then I use basic shapes to build the layout and scale of the world. This method of level designing is referred to as blocking out a level and is something a lot of professional level designers use. By no means am I a professional, and I often deviate from this method when I feel the shapes are not effectively representing the layout. When I feel I have a clear direction of what elements will go where in the level, I use static mesh actors to then build the rest of the environment. Alright, let's move on to the combat of the game. In my last devlog, I talked about hiring a developer to help me build the combat system. After several weeks of development, here's what the combat looks like so far. We're still early on in the development process, so elements like visual effects and sound effects haven't been added yet. But despite not having those elements, the combat to me feels clunky. I'm not quite sure what it's missing, but it definitely needs a lot of work. I want the combat to feel fluid and responsive to the player and be something that is enjoyable to play. One major obstacle standing in the way of the combat is with the character model I'm using. The model is not rigged to the Unreal Engine mannequin, which means we are limited to using only the animations that came with the character. I knew this would be an issue when I selected the model, but it's turning out to be a bigger problem than I anticipated. The animations that came with the character are good, however, it's lacking some key animations that would be used for combat. I do have the FBX file for the character, but I don't know how to properly re-rig a character. I would love to find someone who can re-rig this model, but I need to figure out how much something like that would cost. Needless to say, I have some decisions to make as to whether or not to stick with this character model. So that's where I'm at with Project S. In the coming weeks, I plan to refine the levels that I've already built and possibly have some people test the environment. I'm going to continue working with my other developer on the combat system in hopes that we can create something fluid and fun to play. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll catch you later.